Michael, you're born in Sri Lanka and moved to England when you were 11, is that right? And then to Canada when you were 19. So you spent your teenage years in the UK.
Yeah.
How has moving at such significant times in your life changed or shaped you as a writer, would you say?
I think I was very lucky to come to Canada when I did, because it was a time when I came here, I went to university, so most of the friends you make at that age are so crucial to the rest of your life. You know, I think you come at 25 or 30, it's a very, you come in as a stranger.
Yes.
And I think if you come in about 18, which is what I think.
Just in time.
Just in time to kind of, bond. And also at that age, you're becoming a different person.
Right.
You want to turn into Nijinsky or something, but not yourself.
Yeah.
So even if you come back to yourself later on in your life, you are evolving very, very fast. So that was a very important time for me. And I think I would never been a writer if I lived in England.
Really?
I think I was very lucky. I had a great teacher, and I also, England had at that time a sense that there was a kind of a very, very low class ceiling for anyone who wasn't, of a certain type of family.
Right.
To imagine you could be a writer in England was like, the most a tad pompous.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So I was lucky.
You'd have to go to Scotland.
I have to go to Scotland. Yeah. But I mean, the nerve to want to be a writer in England, unless you went
to a particular,
C.A. Lewis or something.
Yes.
So I was
so that made a big difference.
I did change, actually. I have basically changed many times.
Yeah. In terms of how important are reviews for both of you? In terms of, does it vary for you reading a review as an actor, a writer, a director, and does it vary for you as a writer of your book as opposed to your poetry or the performance itself? Like, do you place much stock in those things?
Well, I know for me, I don't take the high praise or the low praise. I have to more both with a grain of salt. I mean, if you get a rave review, or if you get a terrible review, it comes out of some kind of social context of who's writing the review and what the newspaper is and so forth. I mean, last year one of the great plays was The Hamlet that Mrs. Angel did, and the reviews were just appalling.
It was pretty, split.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I was lucky because I kind of began with a small press. My first 3 books were with a small press, and you never got reviewed for 6 months anyway. And then there was a 3-line review. So by that stage, the people you knew who liked the book had told you that.
Right.
So it wasn't dependent on what the reviewers said. But so in a way, it's a much more private world than maybe people in theatre who depend on the reviews.
Yeah. Yeah, it can make or break a show.
Yeah, and then there's just the sort of the primal reality of reputation and how your imagination can catch on fire with that stuff. So it's something you have to learn how to calm. In terms of whether a reviewer has anything to tell you or show you. Sometimes all they're showing you are the most sort of kind of primitive responses, and kind of reminding you of certain kinds of prejudices that people bring to view your work. But you really have to be, and also unfortunately, we're in Toronto. Reviews come out in Toronto. The play's happening in Toronto, so reviews are in the air. They become a part of, to some degree, an audience's perception, but I think probably less and less as media changes. And I, as an actor, I would never read a review.
Oh, really? Not even after the show was done?
Sure, after, but never during.
Never during.
Yeah, and I always tell myself, I will not read reviews, and then they're online.
It's hard to escape, right? Yeah.
Kind of hard, and you kind of want to know how the houses are going to do. Sometimes you can tell by the houses or by how people avert your gaze when they pass you on the street. Things are not going well.
Do you have? I asked the actors that I interviewed if they had a favourite line in the play in Divisadero. Do you have a favourite line?
He just told me his, which is, of course, he didn't write. So.
Yeah, no, I wrote it the first time. I think I said, when Justin says, gotcha. And then next time I came to rehearsal, Daniel had Tom repeat gotcha.
Oh, right.
Much more devious way.
Yes, yeah.
So, because it's fresh, it's a perfect line.
What's your favourite?
Here's one I love. I kissed him on his doubtful
Yeah,
face.
that's true.
Yeah, that is a nice line. The
Especially coming out of the song. It's beautiful
Yeah.
little moment.
The music makes such a difference to the piece, right? It's a whole other element.
Well, Michael said that that's when he heard Justin sing,
Yeah,
he
you
sort
were-
of imagined that the novel could have some form that had something to do with music. I guess it's a sound.
Yeah, and in fact, I had to tell the truth that before he even sang, I knew this was the guy. You know, I mean, he came on stage and he said he was, strumming his guitar, and he was like the fourth of 7 acts or something like that. And he said, "It's been a very difficult week. I've been bringing up a 3-week-old kitten." It was like, the least thing I expected him to say. But there was a kind of tone. It was a tone more than actually the songs he sang that
Right.
night, and we just kind of bounced off a coop-like atmosphere, and so it really was a case of wanting to work with Daniel and Maggie and Justin to begin with, and then Tom. So it really was a kind of, we all gathered together in a way and kind of made something together. It was very much a thing that was made by everybody as opposed to one person.
Yeah. Is there a character that you have written or that you have played or directed or written that you most identify with or that you feel is the most part of you?
I haven't played a lot of characters. I often play versions of myself,
Right.
and a lot of the shows I did as an actor were creations. So,
They were versions of you.
yeah, generally I would say that's true. I mean, certainly this is going to sound awful, but actually I played Hamlet in university, and I did relate to Hamlet.
Good.
That's okay.
Good.
You can.
I'm indecisive. I was much broodier back then, and had some problems with my parents.
Well, as a writer, it's not allowed to have favorites, otherwise all the characters will kind of storm house. But actually, what happens is usually I'm sort of, I tend to love all my characters,
Of
but
course.
I think sometimes it tends to happen is that there's a character who tends to be uninvited to the book, who turns up by 1/3 to halfway through. Well, Kip was one of those characters in English Patient.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting this guy to turn up, and he literally turned up, and I say, will he stay or will he go, or is he important enough, and all that stuff. And then Arnold's ghost was Garmini, the
Yes.
doctor. So, and I sort of tend now to wait for those characters, So, I'm looking over the shoulder, see what else is coming on. But it's, I'm not sure if that they're phased, but they're the ones that will save me.
Yeah.
They'll save the book in some way, and so I think that they may be crucial.
Yeah.
But the characters you love could be somebody who just only has one scene and says, gotcha.
Yeah. I was just thinking that about your books, how you have, such strong characters, and then just when you sort of think where the book is going, that's exactly what happens. Somebody else comes along and you think it's going to be a side character, and then it ends up being a protagonist. So it's really interesting to hear you say that you don't even necessarily know that that's going to happen until it's created.
Yeah, but also I think that's our world. I mean, we're not. There's nothing finite in our lives, or in our. If you tell a story, we might limit it to 3 people who were in the elevator that night. But once you step out of the elevator, somebody else is going to change your perspective and point of view, and change your life, perhaps. So I mean, there's always that sense in me that it's more open than the well-made 3-act play, or whatever it is, or the Jane Austen novel where everything takes place in the village.
Right.
That's one interesting thing we struggled with in the novel is how to deal with a character's absence.
Right.
So when Claire disappears from the story, is she on stage? Is she, what is the most powerful representation of her absence?
Mm-hmm.
Is it through presence? Is it through? Does it work best if Bridget is invisible until she actually appears well into the play?
Mm-hmm.
Those are sort of related questions.
Mm-hmm. And do you think this is the beginning of a beautiful relationship with you two? Is there more in the works?
Almost halfway already.
Well, yes, but I mean, in terms of collaboration, are you keen to do more things like this with your work?
Sure, but I don't know what, quite honestly.
Are you writing right now?
Yeah, I just finished something.
Okay.
I don't know if it's playable, as a theatrical or not, It takes me a while to understand the book. It takes me actually quite a while to understand.
I think that the beginning will be that his task is that he has to write a character name and a colon and then stuff, and then have another character name and a colon.
Well, Daniel gave me some books
As if
to
they're
read.
talking to
Yes,
each
a
other.
dialogue.
I asked Daniel for some plays, kind of light-hearted romps, and he gave me A Fee in Here and The Lady from Maxine's and stuff like that. So I'm going to read a lot of that kind of
Right.
stuff. So I'll come back with
Trying to
that kind of
Well, we look forward to that.
Farce.
a good farce,
Yeah,
a surprising farce.
that would be different. Thank you very much, both of you, today, and congratulations on a wonderful, wonderful show.
Thanks, Lucy.
Thank you.